Sort of like.
Okay. Hello. Thanks, Graham. Okay, we're all good. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first Risk and Audit Committee meeting for 2024. And welcome online to Councillor Webb and Councillor Naylon, and to anyone else out there watching us today or tuning into the meeting. Welcome to Alan from the news and the senior management team. Thank you very much. So we'll get underway, and we'll start first of all with apologies. Got any apologies today? Are you moving that way, Mr. Mayor? Seconded for that motion. Councillor Deputy Mayor Basher, all in favour? Right. Yep, that's everyone. It's carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll next get on to members' interest. So, of the papers in our agenda today, is there any members' interest to declare? Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, agenda item 6 is council control organisations. I'm a trustee of both Boyle Health Trust and the Boyle Resilience Trust, so I will not participate in that paper.
Okay, and I will also declare an interest in the same paper. I am doing some contract work for the Boyle Health Trust at the present time, and I will not partake in that discussion or chair that portion of the meeting. So I've asked Deputy Mayor Basher to chair that particular agenda item. So those two interests to declare. Any other interest to declare? Could I have a mover for those interests? Councillor Grafton, seconded Councillor Howard, all in favour? Aye. Any against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Now we'll move on to confirmation of the minutes, and these are the minutes of our last meeting in December 23. So minutes of the 13th of December. I'm taking those as read. Are there any amendments to those minutes? Councillor Reedy.
Page 14, item number 4. D. Marshall to email details of LTP budget to Councillor Reedy on this item. That was just to do with the, as from memory, the IM project. Haven't received an email, but just want to put that on record. That email has not been received yet. Okay. It'll be corrected, but I did check.
I'll refer to Douglas.
Initially, no, just if we can just.
You'll follow it up?
It'll be done or has been.
And the other one was page 17.
Yes.
Page 17, which will be debt recovery. Someone raised the question, item 11, someone raised the question about the overdue race debt and what portion of accrued interest was involved with that. I'm not aware of that having been notified as yet. That was all. Okay. Last sentence, L. Brooks to check and advise how much of this arrears is interest accrued. Can't remember who asked the question, but I'm not aware of that having been answered as yet.
I'll just refer to have any recollection of that, or if not, could you just follow that up and check up on that, please? If you wouldn't mind. Okay, yep. Do you recall anything, Douglas?
I don't, but I'm wondering whether it would be more penalty interest.
I think that was the discussion. How much of it was actually rates, or how much was interest accrued because they had paid the rates. Okay,
we'll follow that up rather than once we find out what sort of interest accrued it was, we can amend the minutes accordingly, and then if that can be followed up on as well, that would be good. Councillor Sampson.
That be circulated to all of us.
Absolutely, circulated to all. Please. Okay, so any other amendments or any further actions from that? Right, so I'll go back to the resolution. Resolved that the Risk and Audit Committee receive and confirm the minutes of the 13th of December 2023, and subject to those amendments. Moved Deputy Mayor Basher, seconded Councillor O'Keefe, all in favour? Any against? No, carried unanimously, thank you. So now we'll move on to the action point list. I'm just going to go through those as they are listed. So we've got a number of items which are due for action in next month's report. Just with regard to the strategic risk register, Douglas, and I see it's in March 2024. And do you want to add anything more to that? Because I do know that you've been in contact with Phil Rossiter just with regard to for him to facilitate a review. This is the first draft of an update before the review.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. So I've got a session 2 weeks' time. And we'll be setting out our time frame with our staff to have our staff workshops in March. And may have a bit of a food, well, they won't have a first cut referred to the March RAC meeting, we're too quick for that, but I'll give an update at the March RAC meeting on progress.
And so is the idea that Phil will come to discuss with councillors, or what's the next step after that? Can you just give us a bit of a time frame? We get a draft, what happens?
There'll be 3 broad parts. There'll be workshops with council staff, then workshops with councillors, and then we'll bring together a revised strategy of what our risks are as done back in 2019. So it'll be a total refresh of that. And sort of a follow-up issue for it will be just looking at how we report on a quarterly basis, because it's probably not as helpful as it could be. And so we just need to have a look at that particular process to make it easier for the staff reporting, but also easier for us to update our register and therefore keep councillors alive with what current risks were done, say, in early 24, and then the revised ones and how they get adjusted, because that's probably been the tricky bit, just figure out how to do easily in the last 18 months.
Okay, so then just further to that, around, could you break that down into a time frame? Because we've got March 24 in here, and then in the action, in the work plan, we've got April 24. It sounds like it's going to straddle a couple of months, and I know this has been lingering around for a wee while, so I want some clear indication about how this time frame will work, please.
So when I report in March to RAC, will be a time frame saying that done there, this year, and then for adoption of a new register.
Time frame presented in March. Any further discussion? So that's, I've got one that should be just in the next item, just a date change, Gina. It should be down here, should be March 24. But now I'm going to put the action point list open for any other comments from councillors. 24. Any other comments? Councillor Reedy? Yes.
Just put our layman on the table. I know we've got some staff movements coming up very shortly, and we're looking at March, early 24, March, maybe April, and we've also got long-term planner course. It's quite a heavy workload, plus of course that date of March and June is becoming very compressed. So just want to hope that's we are aware of that, and that hopefully we can get this. Douglas has been on the risk side of it. He's got a pretty good handle on it. So we'd like to have it done before things finish up on that in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Any further comment on that, Douglas? You'll build that into your...
Yeah, I think I suppose the confirmation you want is that report strategy will be in front of you for adoption before I finish. Yeah, that would definitely be. And also I can give you this assurance that if there's a couple of things rolling into the new year, then we'll just deal with that to see over time how we deal with that, to make sure we get that continuity. Yeah.
Anything further on that particular report? Anything from Ngangahua, Reefton? No?
Yeah, Madam Chair, just in terms of those timelines, I guess we'll know in a week or so whether you'll be meeting bi-monthly rather than monthly, and that might alter some of those timelines, that's all.
Yeah, exactly, and I was going to discuss that in the next part, in the risk and audit work plan as well, but yeah, duly noted, I'm sure, And that'll be at council's meeting next week, is it, that whole structure? Oh, end of 2 weeks away, okay.
Yeah.
Rightio, so yep, thank you, Councillor Nathan, that will duly be noted. Okay, so I'll go back to the draft recommendation that the Risk and Audit Committee receive the action point report for information and update. So I move Councillor Fallett, seconded Councillor Grafton, all in favour? Aye, any against? Carried unanimously, thank you. So now we will move on to the Risk and Audit Work Plan, and Councillor Nayland has made a good point there, and I had noted that in mine as well, just with regard to those proposed, could be changes, potential changes to the governance structure will impact on whatever you agree on in the end. A full council will obviously impact on the proposed work plan for 2024, but being that we don't know what that is at the moment, I think we just work with what we have. And so just under the strategic risk register update here, Douglas, can we just have a tick in the March box as well as April, just with regard to that first draft update, please? Any other amendments to the work plan, subject of course to whatever you all decide is, might be the new structure or meeting structure? And further? Okay, so I'll put the resolution that the Risk and Audit Committee receive the Risk and Audit Work Plan for information and updating. Moved Councillor Weston, seconded Councillor Fallett. All in favour? Any against?
Please.
Councillor Reedy against. So that's carried. Thank you. So now we're moving on to agenda item number 6, and this is the Council Controlled Organisation Financial Reporting Exemption. Just before I hand it over to Deputy Mayor Basher, there's just one amendment when the draft recommendation come forward, and that's with regard to recommendation number 3. It should say on the third last line, this exempts the Buller Resilience Trust, not Buller Health Trust. Gina has amended that in the resolution, so I'll hand over to you, Deputy Mayor Basher, please.
Thank you, Ms. Roach. The agenda item itself is pretty self-explanatory. If you've read it, there are 3 recommendations there. Doug, have you got anything further to add to this paper?
No.
No? Are there any questions regarding the paper before we put the, yes?
4, if I may, please. First one is, we're talking about, I've just got a note here, these 3 areas we're looking at, it's clearly defined, and I'm just putting it on the table. Council organisation or council controlled organisation, they're both defined in the legislation. These are more council organisations, but happy to just leave that one for now. The page 25, recommend to council that it resolves the following. So this is telling us at the moment with number 2 that we are going to recommend to council. So are we going to have this on the February agenda for full council? Yes. Will be on there, yep. Number 6.3, we've got a comment there that item 3, page 26, under issues and discussions, last sentence, first paragraph, Buller District Council in itself has less than 50% control of the entities listed above. My understanding with the Buller Health Trust is that we've got over 50%. After all, you're responsible for appointing the trustees. Buller Resilience Trust, I haven't had a chance to go through that one as well. That's tied up with BT Mining, of course, but whether or not you're actually less than 50%, I just believe that could be a misstatement for a reader, certainly a misstatement for me.
So I'm very clear on the Buller Resilience Trust that we are under 50%. I think it's 1 and 4 that we appoint. The Health Trust, I will look at that a little bit further, just check on that appointment process. Yeah.
This
No, so I will check on that process there, because it could be a definition issue.
No, that's cool. And the last one, please, page 27, the last paragraph. Buller Health Trust case is intended that the Council Finance and Audit Committee, of course, it's now RAC Risk and Audit Committee. We don't have finance there anymore, so any reference to Council Finance and Audit Committee needs to be amended, please.
Thank you.
Last paragraph.
Thank you.
Agreed? Okay.
Let's ask, does any of that, the health trust discussion have any impact on the recommendations?
Not today, and I'm comfortable with that because it's still a recommendation to the council. So we may have if we've got something there. I mean, I'd say I haven't read the health trust for 12 months. The Resilience Trust I've done recently, and the other one, there's no issues there. I don't know, Mrs. Brooks and I, there's an important process. It's one of those things we probably need to tidy up. Whichever one wasn't in there previously, we'll give it another good look in these couple of days as well. Thank you for the comments, though.
Just on page 27 again, second bullet point, last sentence, again to do with the health trust. Council does not provide any operating funds to the trust, although it is likely to support it should the benefits of the community outweigh the cost of doing so. So it's sort of wonder, because if it goes belly up, it's going to come back to us as to whether the cost outweighs benefit to the community. So does that really fit in this incident? Because we seem to have quite a large responsibility there, that if anything goes wrong, we're up for it. And seeing I've been around for a long time, I remember, I was sort of literally applying for council, and that we were responsible for loans and the running of, and it's just disappeared in the ether. That we don't hear very much other than we will get a financial report. We have no idea who the trustees are. It used to be the mayor and the CE, but I understand there's another trustee now.
What we'll do for all of those trusts, we'll just add a bit more about the trustees and how they're appointed, just so we get clarity on that one report. As I say, I have read the health trust more thoroughly, regularly, and I'm comfortable that we have got it determined right, but that statement there could be read a number of ways about support. I think, to be fair, that's not what the trustee would envisage, but also probably fair to say this is quite a key activity in the community, and like other things that we step in where we wouldn't normally do as a council, we do here because they are quite critical. So statement I don't think is unreasonable, but possibly not needed for this debate and discussion.
So whether it fits as a citizen.
We'll have a rethink about it when we get to council about the wording. The definitions clear cut, because the CCO definitions cover things like companies, trusts, and other entities. So that's not the question. The question that council already asked about numbers of trustees and that we'll just check on it by that.
Sorry.
I'm happy to move
Okay, so all three.
with that amendment to in recommendation 3. I'm happy to move all 3.
We have a second of Mr. Grafton, secondary. All those in favour? Anyone against? That carried.
So 2 abstain.
2 abstain, 2 abstentions, of course. I'm sure Ted already had that. Oh, sorry, Ms. Brown.
Very good. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Basher, for chairing that item. Okay, so we'll move on to agenda item number 7, which is the Westport Airport Authority half-yearly report to the 31st of December. We'll be quite familiar with this by now, and so you'll know that the Westport Airport Authority provides us with a 6-monthly and yearly update on where they're at, and we have this report. Douglas, is there anything further to add?
Nothing further from us.
No, so I'll open this up for questions. Councillor Reedy, you're
Thank you. I was just looking around.
offering.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Page 30, the item 3, issues and discussions. This report is presented to Council to monitor. It's actually been reported to, been presented to RAC.
Are we looking here?
Yes, technically it is RAC.
Discussing at the moment. I know when it's been the annual accounts, for example, will be presented to council, but it's presented to RAC, and we can just, it's only a minor, but it's reader in 2 years' time. And it's in there twice from memory.
Okay.
Still search on that. And the other one is the page 38, please, which is the accounts proper. The driver behind salaries and wages are higher than budgeted. Given that, I just want to know what the driver is behind there, because we only have basically 2 flights, or a flight in and out twice a day. Fairly easy to calculate the staffing costs. So just, it's quite significant, about 20,000, I think, after 6 months for a small operation. So what's the driver behind it, please?
You want to do something else? I can get a general comment for it. We'll go back and look at that particular issue. I know there's, I understand your view. There is still compliance activities and maintenance activities that need to be undertaken at the airport, whether there's 1 flight in or whether there's 10 a day. There's a lot of standard stuff that just needs to be dealt with. It's not just a matter of getting bags off and checking people through. So there is that compliance issue about navigation, all that type of thing. So there is, chunk of fixed costs. But in terms of your point about budget to actual, I'm not going to have I have a feeling there was some volume of work done in the last 3 months of the year, but I will come back and confirm that as to what it is. I'll probably just circulate an email, might be easier.
Yep, so we'll get that information out via email to everyone. Anything further? You're happy? Okay. Any other questions on that report? The overall result is, all things considered, is probably doing okay. So the resolution is that the half-yearly report of the Westport Airport Authority to the 31st of December 2023 be received by the Risk and Audit Committee for information. Would someone move that way, please? Councillor Grafton, seconded Mr Mayor, all in favour? Aye. Any against? No, carried unanimously, thank you. So now we're moving on to the Port and Dredge.
And you've got to take a bit of liberty, you could just jump over this item. I've got the Harbour Master that's just been coming back from Nelson, and he'll be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind, we'll come back to him.
So we'll just hold that particular report until the Harbour Master is here, because I think it's actually important to have him here. He wrote the report, which I think is an excellent report, very detailed. So it'd be great to have him here to answer any questions councillors may have. Okay, so let's move on to then agenda item number 9. Agenda item number 9. So we've got mine's 47, yours might be slightly different to that, but this is the half-year report to the 31st, financial report to the 31st of December. So we've got 6 months worth of information here and some good detail around the various variances to budget. So anything further that yourself or Lynn would like to add before we open it up for questions?
No, not at this time.
Not at this time.
Take them as they come.
Okay, right, so I'm going to open the floor up for any questions with regard to this report. No, so everyone must be very satisfied with the reporting information, thank you. So I'm going to put the motion that the Risk and Audit Committee receive the half-year report for the 6 months ended the 31st of December. More information, moved Councillor Fallett, seconded Councillor O'Keefe. All in favour? Carried unanimously, thank you. It's a sign of a very good report that provides all the information, so thank you to the report writer. Then we have the next one, which is agenda item number 10, Investments and Borrowings Report. So this summarised Council's cash investments and borrowings, and it is as at the 31st of December. And I will ask if there's, once again, a very detailed report, so anything further to add? No? Okay. Any questions from councillors? I haven't got a single note on this either. We're all on mute. Gosh. I'm not even going to comment on that. Okay, so that must mean, once again, another good report that provides all the information. So I'm going to put the resolution that the Risk and Audit Committee received the Investments and Borrowings Report as at 31st of December 2023 for information. Moved, Councillor Sampson, seconded Councillor Howard. All in favour? Aye. Any against? And I think we now have Dominic with us. Welcome along. So Dominic is the Harbour Master. Would you like to? Is everyone met to?
Yep, Dominic was here last month. So just I'll get Dominic to sort of obviously talk and listen and answer your questions, but we'll take a wee liberty and just talk about what was national soundings, haven't we? So one of the benefits of having the pool pipe now being manned by our crew down Harbour is we've done a lot more sounding work, because the sounding work is because we were contracting, it's got a cost to it. Everything's got a cost to it to fear. We've put a lot of focus on the sounding work Dominic has in the past 4 to 5 weeks. And at the moment, I'm just going to explain, we're just going to see how the bar moves so quickly between dredging runs and the river work. So the soundings show that hopefully reasonably accurate. So obviously, if anyone got any questions on Dominic's report, is pretty thorough.
So we're going to do that first and then move on to the okay. That's yes. So thank you, Dominic, for the very thorough report. I think there were a few questions for clarity, really, just with regard to the financial information. And I think Councillor Reedy did pose this question, which was helpful, but and I think this will be helpful for those listening as well, but just if you could just explain a little bit more or clarify for understanding the meaning of the closed account and just with regard to how that's funded.
Sure. So the closed account is one where the money coming into it and the money going out stay in that account. So it's very much like your water accounts currently, they are closed accounts as well. So the dredge is the easy one, and what we do is we keep a running balance of whether it's in credit, so in other words surplus, or whether it's in debit, in other words it's in deficit. And the easiest one to probably look at is the dredge has obviously been in deficit probably until recently, where we've had some good contracts through our commercial contracts and also our NEMA contract. And that's allowed us to undertake quite a bit of significant rehabilitation work on the dredge. And now, as we've sort of got the dredge and a lot of some of the engine issues we've had to deal with or upgrade are starting to sort of not be quite so costly us. The income, therefore, is starting to flow better, and therefore we're starting to create a small surplus, as you can see for December there. So we're sort of optimistic that come April, May, we'll be in a better position financially with the dredge, which sees us maybe not quite out of the closed account deficit there with the dredge, but hopefully reasonably close to it. There will be a report coming in very shortly too, though, on the future options for dredge and what its activities will be. So that'll give you a feel for the future. So the report's a harder one because we've got issues like initial land purchase of the port and the wharfage income that comes out of the mineral sands agreement doesn't kick in because of the way there was a rent arrangement, a rent holiday arrangement, which is perfectly normal in these arrangements. We don't get paid for sands being moved across the wharf until August this year. But that's, as I say, that's not unusual. And to be fair, they've moved a lot anyway. So it's been actually commercially quite sound for both parties. So the key final comment though, these accounts don't impact on rates. They don't require rates drawn. So they are a bit more challenging because the income is from commercial sources of income from the two activities.
Thank you for that explanation. Councillor Weston.
Madam Chair. Just a clarification on the pilotage. With the 100 GRT gross registered tonnes, what's the difference between that and like the ship or the boat can actually weigh less than that but carry a lot more, or what?
Yeah, it's the gross tons of the ship, and there's some the working carry on top of that. So just the international measure that's used, particularly around the pilotage areas of the maritime rule. So yeah, 100 tonnes is for us and 3 metres dry is quite shallow, and it has been compared to some other ports, but for obvious reasons, it's pretty right for us.
Other questions? Yep, Councillor Reedy.
If I may please, first up, very good report, thanks. Very easy reading, but very detailed, and I just want to agree with you on that one, please. Madam Chair, very good. The questions I've got are, of course, the comment about closed account, no rates. I did ask the question probably in December. Is the ratepayer paying at the moment for the port and the dredge? That's all I wanted, a yes or a no. In the end, I got a yes, the ratepayer is paying it. Now, I know what the intention is. When the port is running and the dredge is running at a loss, someone has to be paying that. Now, if it's done through rates, through a loan or whatever, the ratepayer at the moment is still liable and is still paying that somehow through the rates. I just want clarification of that, please.
I don't think that's a correct statement. But
well, I think it is. It's misleading to a user, to a reader, but if I can just move on to the other ones, please.
I'm just going to stop there for a wee moment, Councillor. It's very important that we clarify this, because this could be quite a lot of misinformation here about who funds it. Douglas, can you repeat it in a way that clearly says, so we don't rate for it as such?
We don't rate, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to defer to the next meeting to look at interest charges historic-wise and just see. But I think where Councillor is coming from is, if there's an overdraft, then there's not money being out on investment, and therefore there's a loss of interest income for the council's general fund. So I assume that's where your argument's going.
May I through, Madam Chair? If the account, if the dredge, the ring fence, you call it closed, but it's ring fence, if that's running at a loss, which it is, someone has to be paying for that, because it just doesn't sit there. Someone's got to be paying for that loss, and that's wages, fuel and oil. Sure, we've got money coming in from central government, we've got money coming in from Nelson and that, but at the moment it does not appear to be covering the operational costs. Someone's got to be paying for that.
Okay,
so all I'm asking for is clarification.
So I'll repeat what I said just before. You said, if this was sitting with a bank account allocated specifically to make it more clear to the dredge and the harbour activities, this account's effectively overdrawn, and what you're asking is who's paying the overdrawn interest. That's the question, isn't it?
Question then.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, instead of us just saying the answer today, because I know there was a little bit of interest through this last 6 months, I want to go back and look over time and just give you that time picture, because I know this has come up a couple of times, and I think it's sensible. We'll just go back, get a bit more clarity, probably spit out the interest costs so we can see them and know what they are, as opposed to sitting within the operating expenditure. I'll give you a more fulsome answer.
Councillor Grafton, did you have something more to add to that?
No, I think that's what we're all getting to, was
yes.
Interest on debt.
Yep.
Someone's got to be paid, so it has to be ratepaid.
Or ratepayer or
adding
yes.
to
yeah.
Yes. That's right.
Excuse me, just about how long do you reckon it would take? Or have you got a projection for when this closed account actually moves into the positive? Because if it's not going to move to positive, then probably not a great investment. If the projection is that it is going to move positive, then that can be quite exciting.
So we've had a look at that, Douglas, haven't we? And
Yeah.
your team work on that regularly.
Yes.
So have you got that in front
So
of you?
we've done work in terms of that for the long-term plan, and the dredge does start to turn on projected dredging works surpluses, and depending on what we have to do in terms of rehabilitation over the next, say, 10 years, the long-term plan. Harbour starts to become a better position because of the wharfage fees that now get charged with the mineral sands arrangement and any other product, and they've been quite active in terms of what they can turn over there. So that's a bit harder to pick because of the volumes there, but certainly our annual deficit figure starts to come back. The question, and at this stage I'm not going to answer it today because it is a few years out, does the dredge offset the harbour? And if that becomes the case, then that's the sweet spot that we found success. My recollection as I did these projections about 6 or 8 weeks ago was that about 7 years' time, we start to look good. Part of the reporting to council as part of long-term plan for these two activities, we'll get clarity on that, and then we'll have something we can hang in hand.
Thank you.
I'll just go back to Councillor Reedy, Councillor Sampson, because you wanted to carry on with some other questions. You're right to go to, yeah. Sorry, I think you wanted to carry.
3 more, sorry.
That's all. I'll keep with you, Councillor Reedy, and then I'll go to Councillor Sampson, unless that was this question on the same topic around. Oh, no, but what we were already discussing.
Oh, no.
No, different? Okay, back to you then.
Just on page 40, we've got the Cobden Street slumping and the Buller Coal shed. Thanks for that, Dominic. These seem to be a little ongoing, and I'm just asking the question, can they be put on the action points so we can monitor them? These, when we read these comment about, especially the Cobden Street slumping, there seems to be some issues there. And the coal shed, the ongoing fact findings underway by BDC staff to fully understand the picture. It's on page 47. But we've got this ongoing work. All I want to know is, can we have a bring up? And the bring up seems to be with action points. Otherwise, there's a potential to lose sight of these. So,
Any comment?
In terms of Cobden Street slumping, so we have been monitoring that site for about 9 to 12 months. That was on the basis that it appeared initially to be the river working on the wall that sits in that spot at Cobden Street. About 8 weeks ago, I think it was, before Christmas, the engineers followed up a complaint from a ratepayer in that area and found, no, actually, it's actually a stormwater pipe that's collapsed through that area and been causing some localised flooding. So they're just waiting at the moment for a methodology to fix that. It's not something we're able to claim through any of our flood recovery work because that time's passed. So we're just working on an arrangement here where there's, because it's on port land and it's council land, there's some benefit to both parties over the stormwater account, and we're just waiting now to see what that costs look like before we make a final decision on what to do there. But sensible to put it in the action list. And the Buller shed issue, I mean, I'm happy to have that identified in there. We're obviously the landowner, and Buller Coal are the shed owner, and either Buller Logistics or Westport Minerals, Western Mineral Sands are the lessee of the building. It's been well reported through the media, the arrangement there. So, I mean, happy to have it as an action. Maybe we look at it in 3 months' time and see where it's going to change, and that way we can give some assurance that there's no issue on the council coming through, which is certainly indications we're not seeing anything that's concerned with the council.
Okay.
and one more, please, Melanie.
Yep.
And that's 3.7 on the same page. Bottom one here, table below summarises the financial position of the port. The 3 months actual results to 30 September 23. But then on the schedule itself, it says December actuals. So what are we looking at, sorry? 6 months or 3 months?
I've got ahead of myself, should be 23, quite right. Yeah, it should be December actual 23, but total budget 24.
So what's this column? That's what
No, 23, that's 23 actuals, that's 23 full actuals, yeah.
Councillor Reid is saying, because the part of the narration talks about up to the 30th of September.
Bottom of page 42.
Commentary.
So 42?
Page 42. Bottom.
Right at the bottom, it says 3 months actual results to
Yeah,
the.
sorry, that's sloppy, that should say December 23, my apologies. 31st December 23. July to December actual. So it should.
So what's the two columns of actual?
So the first column is June 23 actuals. So that's the last full financial year.
Yep.
The second column are the 6 months actuals to the 31st of December. So that commentary is saying September should have been updated December. Fourth column was total budget for the 24 year, and the third column, sorry, and the fifth column is the running total.
So you're really missing a line that gives a bit more. That should say June 23.
Yeah, I'll
Otherwise, we don't know. Yeah. Good comment. Yeah, for clarity. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? Oh, sorry, Councillor Sampson, over to you.
Yeah, just simple one. Page 44, top, first sentence, about the budget, and staff diligently working through checking all income possible is being charged. Now, we did have a hiccup on dates about one of the companies being charged. So when is that due to be rectified?
I don't personally know about that, but
Yeah, we weren't charging enough and we got the date wrong or something.
okay.
And
I'll have to, was that reported, was it? Okay, we'll have a look back in our files, but
I'll talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. If you could have an offline discussion just around that, sort of follow up, that would be good. Any further questions before I ask Dominic just to give us a little bit more information about what he's been working on and the soundings? No, thank you. Dominic, over to you.
Thank you. So having a protector in our fleet is really a vital piece of the puzzle. Being able to work with Steve and keep it on the dredge, and when we have a weather event like we had last weekend with the large swells, it really changes the dynamics of the bar quite quickly. So we're able to go over here while Kevin was digging and see what difference he was making to us. It was pretty exciting for Kevin to see that we were doing some stuff, because he was able to, on Monday, it got very calm. So we've gone from, I've got one copy of each of these, but this is the 11th of January, and this is cable 2, where this is the main bar in cable 1. So a cable is 0.1 nautical mile from the tip ends down here. So this is our main bar, secondary bar. So this is in January, 11th of January, so quite deep, 2 metres, 2.4 metres, really good usable hand bar. So this one here is on the 7th of February. So later, you can see the reds is below half a metre. Here, this is on cable 2 as well. So you can see that the sand moves from the west to the east. So we can be tracking that. So that's on the 7th. On the 9th, this is post digging. So Kevin and Dave a whole lot of work here. So they've done really good stuff and been dumping that out of the dump site. You can see the sand started to head across here to the east. And this was Monday after a weekend of rough weather. And the difference between these two is that there's a lot of build up here on Friday, which is now gone across to here and is even further extending to the south. So the upshot of that is we're able to really have a good look and get real-time soundings, publish them, and make them available to everybody. But what it shows us is it's actually opening up to the west again on the main. So it's really, really stoked with how we can get amongst it and see what's happening on a real-time basis. So we've currently got a nav warning out with Maritime New Zealand, which is broadcast on Channel 16 on our marine radio. because it's just notifying that anything under a metre and a half of chart data, we like to let people know just to be extra cautious about it. Just a pretty, there have been some pretty relaxed crossings in the past, so we really would just want to try and make this as publicly available as we can, which we do. And Henley, we've had some pretty high tides at the moment. We've got 3.7 metre high tides, which is the best of the month. I'm used to that today, so that eases the pain for many vessels. So yeah, that's really it. It's really great tool to whiz out, particularly if the dredge master says, gee, I'm not sure about this. We can go out and have a look for an hour, and it gives us an exact idea of what's going on.
So you're basically out there every day doing it?
No, we're trying to do it minimum fortnightly, but we're doing it every week. In fact, we did it 3 times last week, and Stephen wanted to just check in, and we did another again on Monday. So we're trying to aim for weekly, unless there's an event, a flood, a big swell, a big weather. So yeah, it's pretty benign. And stuff doesn't tend to change too much out there, so there's got to be a thing like that the weekend where there's a large swell. So we had a look at Monday, and yeah, it's an interesting dynamics. Things are moving out there all the time. Yeah, it's quite a dynamic piece of kit out there. So being able to assess it as and when we like, without having to, ring up a contract saying, when can you go do it, blah, blah, blah. We can just jump into the keys and Thomas and
And so a fisherman or whoever else comes across the bar, are they using that data online and they can get in? And...
Well, they may be, they may not be. We encourage them to do it. We stick it, we've given out a welcome pack to everyone this year again, or we stick on that side of their window so they can do the scan and go have a look at their website. We encourage everyone to go and have a look at the website. West Coast Regional Council in about 4 to 6 weeks will have their wave buoy ready, so they'll be deployed out there, and so we're going to help with the deployment and the maintenance, and they're fronting the cost for putting it on, and we'll get access to the data straight to our website. So that's another wee tool that's really important to this bar, because it's the period between the swells that's the key. That really helps people. That's going to build the picture. It's going to be vital for the sands barges, for sure. Yeah. It's just another really excellent part of the puzzle for anyone crossing the bar. Just go and jump on the website and it'll be there.
That's great news. Councillor Weston.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the more sands there, the more it traps. Does it trap many logs?
No, it's mostly sand. Yeah, just sand. The logs are, from what I understand, are blown out and come around up on the beach here. There's logs up the river. Obviously, that's where the line picking up a few there, and there's a few stuck inside of the wharf at the moment. We don't want to get rid of it. So normally the bars are just pure sand, pretty much.
Okay, Councillor Reedy.
Can I just get clarification? That was all. I just heard Dominic mention about a for the sand west to east flow. I think he said on there.
Yes.
And then one of the last ones, through the chair, sorry, Madam Chair. Then one of the last ones you had, he indicated that it was east to west. Did I hear that correctly?
No, it's all gone west to east.
Oh, it's all west to east.
It's all heading that way, yes.
Yeah, okay.
The direction of the swell. So quite marked by just over a weekend, you can quite move.
That's just more clarification. Thank you.
Welcome. Anything from Reefton? No questions?
So the reason why we've just done that is responded to most boats we can get across the bar without too many hassles. The importance of that work is the mineral sands barge. That's the type of information that's critical to them as to whether they can get in and out. So as soon as Dominic's had that information, we sent it through, because it's building up that sort of repository of information available to them. No different to what Holcim would have done with the council or company in those days. But it's really important that we talk to Mineral whenever we've got information, because it's careful to them how they schedule their movements going forward, and we need to obviously work in tandem and then work our dredge programs with them in due course. Yeah, it's a good chance to highlight the benefit of now being able to do those things regularly.
Just one,
Yes,
just for information, we had mineral sands managers and the master of the sand barge who's going to be bringing it down and doing, I think, at least 6 months worth of trips. So he came down yesterday, we did some familiarisation trips up and down and showed him the area. So they're pretty engaged in it, and the master was very interested in the Westport overseas from Indonesia. So yeah, pretty good for that. Quite interesting stuff.
What do you think it was enough for him?
It was quite quiet. We'll look after him. We've got a well-trained pilot who'll be standing beside him.
Very good, excellent. So any further thank you for all that information, Dominic. It's really interesting and very reassuring. Any further questions to that report? No, I'll put the motion then, resolve that the port and dredge operations report as at the put my glasses on, as at February 2024 be received for information. Can I have someone move that way? Councillor Weston, seconded Councillor Grafton, all in favour? Aye, any against? No, carried unanimously. Thank you very much for coming along, Dominic. It's very much appreciated, and for your written report as well. Cheers for that. Okay, so we will now back to the agenda. We're up to agenda item number 11. And this is the project status report. So let's go through the projects and partnership reporting process. So once again, you're all getting very familiar with these. I'm going to take these in two parts because we've got the NEMA projects and then we've got the Better Off funding projects. So I'm firstly going to deal with the NEMA projects, and I'm going to take them as read. I'll ask if there's anything further, Douglas, you have, or Mr. Mayor, if there's anything further through projects and partnership. And if not, then we'll put it open for any questions. So just dealing firstly with the NEMA projects.
Nothing to.
Mr. Mayor or Councillor Grafton, being both on the projects and partnership note. Okay. Good detailed reports. Any questions? Councillor Reedy.
Thank you, Madam Chair, but I'm a bit confused. I didn't tick mine off as being NEMA or Better Off, so I'm not sure where to start from here.
Okay, so if you go to page 72, which is that deals with the NEMA projects, that report, that's the one I'm dealing with to start with.
Okay, so if I may, report, the port appears. There's a comment in there that the Deputy Chief Executive of NEMA strongly recommended a peer review of the wharf project. In the minutes, it says that those attending the minutes, the meeting, were reminded that the Deputy CE, John Price, I think his name is, strongly recommended. Now, in the account, in the previous write-ups that we've had, we've been awaiting a peer review, as if it was being that the peer review had been ordered, we'd been instructed to undertake the peer review. Now I'm seeing that it was strongly recommended. So we've had this quite a delay in terms of the getting on with the work, in terms of because of this strongly recommended, how can I say it, that we get this peer review. Now, I suppose the question now is well, okay, if we've decided, and then it says that it's up to BDC to determine where we go in terms of the peer review. So it seems to me that's come from the PIP committee back to BDC. So what are BDC doing about the peer review and the wharf repairs, please?
So our peer review has been completed. It did not, in general terms, did not make any recommendations on change to the design methodology. A copy has been provided to NEMA as part of that. We're currently going through the process of signing off the contract documents. timetable, and we'll be out to market, I think it's later in February, with endeavouring to bring pricing to council in March, early April for decisions on tendering the repair methodology, the repairs.
So, Mayor, so in terms of BDC involvement, is a paper coming to BDC on this?
Well, we are after the tender, procurement contract, the procurement of the repairs.
Everything will come through, okay. And just a minor one, please, if I may, on the NEMA. I got a bit confused, I have to say. We talk about the Anangahua River projects, the Reefton Historic Landfill, which we, of course, BDC were stumping up 250k for that, was my understanding. The on page 76, where we've got the schedule, we talk about WP9, the Anangahua landfill, and I believe we're talking Anangahua landfill and Reefton Historic Landfill in the same breath. We just got two different titles there. It was all, and I got a bit confused initially.
I can't help it.
Yeah. So they're the one and the same by the sound of it, are they?
Okay.
It's the Anangahua River.
It's the same thing.
So
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'm happy to move on to the next one if I can then.
okay, I'll just ask if there's any other questions with regard to the NEMA projects before we move on. Right, so now we'll move on to the better off funded note.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Right, yep. Have you got one more on?
One more on the NEMA regarding Coates Street. And it'll be on page 74. We talk about WP6 betterment and the pump stations and Coates Street. Constructability tests failed due to high groundwater. When we go through the minutes, we're talking about the potential for Coates Street, and I can't remember what the term is, but basically putting down a drain ditch. There's a term for it. What concerns me about this, though, is that some years ago there was a report produced by Tonkin Taylor, I understand, about 10 years ago, describing this the issue with flooding, if you like, in the Coates Street area, and with the subdivision that was that we know just goes a bit beyond Coates Street, and I'm a bit lost on the geography, I have to say, but some land was given up for, in terms of financial contributions for a little subdivision down there. Land was given up for, instead of money, the land was given up for flood protection. The whole idea being that it became a soak pit. And as the tide went away, the water table around Coates Street obviously drops as well. So by you having this soakage pit, if you like, the water accumulates and then it slowly dissipates. I don't know what's happened with this, but now we're looking at saying, well, we've got 146,000. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for mentioning the fact, well, we've got 146. The Mayor is asking for more detail on this, as I understand. Now, so we're looking at, say, potentially, well, it's going to cost us more than 146 to dig these holes, or these drains, but we've already had a plan that was endorsed by Tonkin Taylor 10 years ago. So why are we continually seem to be spending money after we've already spent money? And there was already a flood protection, if you like, plan around that particular time. So we just seem to be going around in circles, the same as I am now talking. and I mean that seriously too, because I'm lost with the geography. But all I'm saying is that, and we haven't got to the minutes yet, so unfortunately that's where I was starting. So my apologies for protracting, but I haven't reached 5 minutes yet. I'm happy with what the Mayor has mentioned and he's reported in there So obviously when we touch on the minutes, if I can bring this one back again.
Well, I think Mr. Mayor might be able to provide a little bit more information,
Yeah.
just to put this into context, because we're talking about a report that I think probably no one around this table really knows about, if it even exists. But do you know a little bit more?
I don't know anything about the historical
No.
report, but I think what I would flag is that talking about a pretty minimal fall period. So like it doesn't take much to make something work or not work. It was pretty flat down there. So there was a lot of, and so the environment's changing, and intensity of rainfall's changed quite a lot over 10 years as well. So the sort of events that we see is different to what we saw 10 years ago. So the idea of the whole scheme was that there was movement around how they could potentially pipe some water to a point and then cut it. So accumulated into what traditionally you would think of as a normal stormwater to some point, but they were going to use swale drains, effectively an open drain system to make it for economic reasons. Part of that design process included going down and actually doing a bit of a dig and making sure that this was actually doable. And when they did that, they found that for groundwater reasons, it was actually going to potentially make things certainly visually worse because these swale drains would sit full of water every full tide. And so they determined that wasn't a sensible way forward. So it came back to the PI, Projects and Partnership Group, for a new design to be authorised, which was again modelled on about a 1 in 10 year capacity event, which was effectively using similar sort of swale drain concept, but filled with clean ballast that would receive the stormwater and soak over time. So not unlike the solution that you talked about that was version historically, but a modern version of perhaps. And so we asked for a bit more information around was that actually going to achieve an outcome for the community that would be significant in terms of dealing with their flooding issues, rather than just being nuisance flooding. But the engineer to the project indicated that the modelling for the soakage fields and things that they've got planned would address around about a 1 in 10 year event. So it is more than just a wet day, it's a decent chunk of water rainfall. And so the project was approved to proceed on that basis. So the soakage field concept is the approved way forward that they're progressing on. That'll provide some peace of mind to that community that there is some work being done there that will address sort of moderate scale 1 in 10 year kind of event flooding, but no one's pretending that it's a 1 in 100 year flooding solution, because that's deemed not possible in that part of town. So hopefully that gives you some. So I did progress on basically new information came back. We got some clarification that it wasn't just like a vanity project just to spend the money. It was actually modelled engineering wise that there was a sort of 1 in 10 year benefit to that project going ahead. So.
Just one quick, if I may, please. Just on the minutes, Jay Klein would like to see more of an explicit recommendation from the tech team. So is that coming through? I just get the impression that.
So that's be the next set of minutes. Yes. So I guess we're giving you the latest.
Agreed. So
yeah, we're a bit out of sync.
Out of sync. I agree. So who, in terms of NEMA, these NEMA projects, who determines how, through the chair, who's determining how this money is spent? There's a comment on here that Penny's indicated that it's up to the committee to determine how that money is going to be spent. I thought it was BDC who had the initiatives. They said, well, this is what needs to be done based on reports and what have you. So I'm coming back to the obviously Coast Street, but there's other things as well. But PB replied that it's up for the PIP committee to approve recommendations and stuff like that. So I'm just wondering who's is BDC, sorry, is BDC leading the charge, or is PIP?
PIP and NEMA are leading the charge. So the funding is approved, it's an envelope funding for some specific things. So effectively what you're dealing with, what you've got here, it's dealing with the scope change. So the initial project that was planned, it was, the flag went up to the committee and said, hey committee and NEMA, we're not going to be able to achieve what we set out to achieve in terms of a 30-year or whatever the aim. I think it was to deal with I hesitate to use the words, but it was around dealing with substantial flooding, and they said, look, you couldn't really argue this is to deal with the big flood, because it's just deemed not engineeringly sensible for the money that's available. So it was a scope change to come back, and that was why the question was asked, actually, is the scope change even worth doing, or are we better to repurpose that money to some other part of Westport stormwater network or something that achieves the NEMA outcomes? And but when we got that further advice, the new information said that it is a 1 in 10 year solution. It is a significant improvement on what's there, so it achieves the betterment goal, and it's dealing with arguably moderate scale significant projects. So that's the gist. NEMA had provided instructions around what the money was appropriated for, and so it's this money to be reappropriated to another or scope change within that envelope. Then that's the whole point of the partnership group. There's a check-in with the funder, with the group, and they're an active part of the conversation. So some of the rationale for asking for the additional information was it's pretty clear that NEMA we weren't quite sure was as well. The report didn't quite tip the box for them in terms of their satisfaction that it was going to achieve an outcome that they had intended the money for, and so that's why the additional information was asked, and everyone agreed that it was a project worth proceeding on that basis. So
originally, Mr. Mayor, then when these projects were, when the funding came through from NEMA, or they said, here's a bucket of money, what do you want to spend it on? So at that point, were those projects, just for clarity, were those projects approved by council at that stage, the concept of them? Because now it's a scope change, or is it? But I think what Councillor Reedy is saying is, at what point do council help? Are council involved in that decision making, or is it being left to the two representatives on projects and partnerships?
So initially, the work packages you see there, they're called all different things. There's a whole lot of specific projects we spoke under that. So I think the first one had something like 5 or 7 different projects. So one of them, like that one, includes things like lifting the pump stations, the Broad Street Brick Arch. So basically they're working through those, they're being ticked off and delivered. So there's unders and overs on various parts of those in each work plan. But the actual work plan originally would have been worked up at a technical level, I would imagine, between our team based on their knowledge of the network and where the pinch points were, and a prioritised list of where the damage was initially, and then where it made sense to do the betterment. So remembering some of this is negotiated betterment, 100% funded by, almost 100% funded by the agency, through that additional announcement by the Prime Minister when he came with the $17.5 million project. So it's not ratepayer money, it's NEMA funded for that bespoke set of projects that was agreed at the time. And there is a big firm in terms of where that can go. So there's a little, you'll see in the report, there's a little, for want of a better word, nest egg of services that are being held that we may, with NEMA's approval, be able to apply to potentially another project that needs additional funding. And the obvious one that could be more expensive than we anticipate is the wharf repair. And so there'll be a discussion down the track with those unspent balances can be a case put to NEMA to agree for that to be reappropriated to another project.
So the way that information then comes back to full council, or everyone sitting around that table, is via the PIP reports.
With the exception of, for example, where so a really good example I think is the Reefton landfill Rockpool, that there was actually, during that project, there was an identified benefit to the project to add some additional capital that wasn't budgeted for any of the NEMA stuff. Where in that paper came back and council approved the additional, forget the number now, but a significant bit of money to make that job, to top that job up. So that became a council decision because there was
council money.
Additional money getting tipped in for those unbudgeted.
Okay, that's very valuable information.
don't want to labour the point.
No, I don't want to labour it either, because I did.
Because I know Coronation Street's starting shortly.
Yeah, and
If I can just say, my understanding was, and this occurred in the last council. So when NEMA and Cabinet provided $10 and $7 million, roughly 17 million, my understanding was NEMA didn't say we're going to spend that money on here and here and here. It was BDC that said these are the areas we need to address. So what I'm hearing now is that Coat Street, for example, in the minutes it's saying PIP will decide what we're going to go do, not BDC. It's got it on page basically 85, I think it is. So all I'm asking for is clarification. Who is for me, PIP is doing the, just a bit like the ward committee with regional. It's a talking, it's recommending and what have you, but I would have thought BDC would be, if you like, determining what projects need to be undertaken, not NEMA, because they don't know. All they know is that, like, if we haven't got coast, if we can't do Coat Street, we've got money left over. Yes, NEMA have to determine how that's spent, but it's up to, I thought, BDC through the chair, BDC to say, well, we've got this money left over, we can't do anything with it. Can we use the money for this particular project?
Yeah, well, it would be. It would be, but in this case, we had BDC or BDC's contractors recommending a project that they believed was worth going forward, but it was quite different in scope than what everyone originally anticipated. So it's the chief environment tech. So project partnership includes our technical team. So the engineers sit and talk to their paper. And so you know, the whole, and right from the get-go, the NEMA package of work was laid up initially from our own technical team, but then pretty heavily peer reviewed by NEMA. So they literally had a person on the inside that sat there and pulled apart every project, justify this, show me, prove me where this is damaged, you know, before it got into the package for approval by the minister. So they had arduous due diligence on the package of work, what was allowed in, what was allowed out, what was betterment, what wasn't, all of that.
the package came from BDC's team, identified, went through to NEMA to approve, and then what's happened here is this Coat Street one was part of the original package and then, but over time, it's been identified that actually what was going to be done wasn't really ideal. So they've come with a scope change in order to achieve something that will fit into that betterment. So really, it's still part of the same project originally. It's just been done in a slightly different way. So rather than make that drag on forever, it goes back through PIP and so we've got our two representatives, which were yourself and Councillor Grafton, plus our technical team. That work all gets done and then it gets approved by NEMA. Is that where it's at? Yeah, so that seems like a very sensible way of going about it. I'm just going to go to Councillor Howard there because I think we might be at slight cross purposes here, maybe with your understanding, Councillor Reedy, going back to when that money was actually allocated, and that might be a bit of an offline discussion, just a little bit more if you two want to have a talk about it. Councillor Howard.
Without having seen the design and the specs, but my understanding it's open drains. I just wondering if there's opportunity around landscaping or nature-based solutions that either working through with KMTT or community organisations, or is landscaping part of the scope of work?
It's not open, did you say open?
No, what, isn't it open? Is it not open?
It was open, that's not open. For health and health and safety, was that it couldn't be open.
Okay, that's all right. So if there's anything more, Councillor Reedy, just with regard to your understanding about how that all works from the original project to where it gets to in the end, then I'd really ask you to have that discussion with the Mayor, just for understanding, because I think, am I asking anyone else around the table need any further clarification on that? Just to move it along, otherwise we're going to get a bit stuck on it.
Please, Madam Chair, just one comment. Just in terms of the minutes then, in terms of page 86, Coast Street, item 3. Now, it's got here recommended option. So this is the committee recommending an option. And I thought this would come back. I mean, residents in Coast Street have not had voice. We are the voice for the residents, and yet it's PIP who are making the decision. So all I'm asking is, who is making? Where is the community voice on this? That's all. Is that PIP are making a decision for Coast Street? That's all. But let's park it for now.
Better outcome surely for them than they have now.
Yeah, we don't. Okay.
No, because we've had technical advice.
Just to be fair, that's just the go for it. Obviously, then there's the project itself will include consultation with the affected landowners. You know, there's normal with any project. It's not like going to happen in the middle of the night or something.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. Yeah, it's just to say that budget is good and they can go to procurement. So my understanding is the next step is they're talking to contractors is around firming up the final pricing and we don't consult
Every single.
speed of council, especially ones as low as 140,000. I don't think we do that very often. So it's like, you know, at the end of the day, the initiation of this was identified from a technical point of view as a job that should be done, and then it's cascaded from there.
Well, I'm going to leave it at that then. I think that we've had some pretty clear indication on that. Okay, so I'm moving now on to the Better Off funding project. So we're at page 79 for those, and we've got a report here from Penny Bicknell with regard to those projects. Details are all in there. I'm going to ask who's here. Anything you want to add? No. Okay, I'm going to put it out there for any questions with regard to the Better Off funding projects. Deputy Mayor Basher.
Just the what we've got, the financials, etc., are quite old in terms of October. It would be good to get some more updated expenditure.
So what I think that the PIP, have you just met? That you'll have the absolute updated ones, I'd imagine. Would yours have gone through to the 31st of December? I'm sure they would have.
Yeah, it was this week, we have got December.
So there's just that bit of a lag behind when you're
I mean, and the other thing is on civil defence, of all those budget lines on page 83, that's the only one where it doesn't add up to the budget. And I presume unless it's been okay for a bigger budget, then it should all add up to 3.5 million, sorry. But that's the only budget that there's an extra 44 grand.
So you're saying,
according to me,
so 44,000 to spend. That's all project spend. And you saying the 230's been spent, 44,000 on the second column to the right.
Yeah, revenue to date 275 plus another 44,000 to spend.
Yep.
Is more than the budget of 275. Is what you want to say.
No. 230 is the actual spend today. 230 if you add the 44
yeah,
to it.
I get that part.
Yep.
So we're saying no, we've got revenue. All right, I'll believe you, but
we've already banked the 275. It's 44 yet to spend. But once we look at December's, we might find that's good.
So it's a revenue today, what we've received.
Yeah.
We haven't spent it, we've just received it.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah. We should do December though too late today.
See what you're saying. Yeah. If you look at all the other columns, it does it in a slightly different way, but that's all right. I see what you mean. Anyway, well, I think it's fairly clear that it's 275 has been received. Yeah. So we received it in advance of the job being completed.
That's what you would
That's
read
what
from that.
that's what you're reading from it.
But
yeah. Okay.
On the case of civil defence, I think a lot of that's already done. Lovely, that was the Starlink thing with it, I think so.
Yeah, they're
I would
still
say
a little bit.
Majority of them have been done, expended and billed for, it's probably just a little bit.
Looks like they've got money up front. Okay, councillor Simpson.
Page 18,
Yeah.
just where the different projects are at, and it's got the Granity Fundraising Centre awaiting DIA approval. Is there any update on that, when it's been approved, or still awaiting? It's not a swimming pool, but I know they're seeking more information, but I just wanted to know.
Break my golden rule and have a look at this week's agenda.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm just doing the same thing.
If I may,
Yeah,
Yes.
I believe, without Mr. Neil checking, I believe there's only one outstanding. There is in one of the reports, which was suggested, or it was only the swimming pool, I believe, awaiting.
I think that's all going to actually.
and they have the quotes to speak on that, yeah.
Yeah,
That was
that was-
sorted out.
Yeah.
So we're going to get, thank you, and Mr Mayor's going to give us the absolute up-to-date this week information. He's a rule breaker. While Mr Mayor's having a wee wander through, councillor Reedy.
I was going to ask if I could just, while Mr Mayor's checking, if we could kick into a better off funding.
That's where we are. Yep, you can. You go.
Thank you very much. Better off funding. There's talk about Westport emergency water supply, awaiting addition, page 88. It's on the minutes, but it's also elsewhere. Awaiting additional funding for extra tanks installation. A few meetings ago, council meetings ago, we approved, we had some money left over to be reapportioned, and we approved $20,000 for installing water tanks, i.e. basically the concrete platforms, 20,000. So it's news to me that we're now seeking additional funding, because it certainly has to come back to council on that. Or am I looking at something different?
Might be
Further tanks.
Might be a timing issue, because the minutes you're reading from the 4th of December, the council decision, I can't remember exactly, council meeting was, I think, mid-December, so it just might be a timing issue. We have to look at the council.
We had that meeting, sorry, Madam Chair, we had that meeting some time ago, and we, my understanding was that the 20,000 had been approved by NEMA, and what I'm looking at, when I read this now, as an outsider, it's telling me that they're looking for more money to set the concrete slabs upon which they can put the water tanks. I just want confirmation, that's all, because it hasn't come back to us.
It's probably not something that can be answered just off
No,
the cuff, but if you can you note that, please, Douglas, and we'll come back with some information on that.
And one more, please, and I know it's not our responsibility, but I notice on the minutes on page 85, Penny Bicknell was not only present, but she was also attending via Zoom, but I'm sure someone's picked that up. Oh, very.
Maybe she, yeah, okay, I think duly noted by Douglas, can you go back to Kirsten or?
One or the other.
Yep, get that sorted. It might have even, because when PIP meets to approve those minutes, they may have even on the way through. That's probably the way to deal with that. Mr Mayor, from here you look like you're frozen.
Yeah, I'm quite perplexed, because the community centre Granity, the op shop building, it's not on the thing anymore. So was there another resolution for that?
Yeah, it was to do with that.
Did they get funded elsewhere?
They did. They got funded by Lotto. They got, and they were Granity Fundraising Centre had been receiving funding from the lottery. 25k will now go towards roofing and other repairs, because they were sort of mid, like where they already applied, and then they got that as extra.
It's not on the list anymore. It's been.
So did they get the funding?
There was no update.
I'm pretty
So
sure.
I'd have to come back to you. I'm afraid.
Okay.
It wasn't discussed.
Okay. I'll come back on that. No. Anything else with regard to these reports? That's the reading. Give you one more.
Madam Chair, I know coronation's about to start and I'm being frivolous, but I'd like to move that the,
Yes, well, you'd like to move the resolution. That is fantastic.
I'll second it.
Just a minute, you've got ahead of me now and I'll have to find the resolution. Okay, that the Risk and Audit Committee received the reports and minutes from the December Projects and Partnership meeting. Moved by councillor Reedy, seconded by councillor Sampson. All in favour? No. Any against? No, thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you for that discussion. And then the last one on the public agenda is the to move into public excluded. And we've got a resolution here which so we've got two public excluded matters. It's confirmation of minutes of the public excluded meeting from December and projects in partnership IAF funded projects. So reasons for that under the Hoima are listed. I'll move that we move into public excluded based on that. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Basher. All in favour? Aye. Any against? No. Carried unanimously. Thank you. So thank you to everyone that's watching, or many of you. Thanks, Alan.
Anything decent on the newspaper tonight? Anything decent on the newspaper?
Yeah,
Oh, great colour.